HarperCollins presents The Sister Switch by Charlotte Butterfield, read by Clare Wille. To my sisters, my best friends. Chapter 1. Alice and Edie. Sisters were meant to share everything, but the only thing Alice and Edie shared were their faces. Finding identical twin sisters with such opposing views, one a qualified relationship therapist, and one with an Instagram following most reality stars tried to manifest every sunrise, was television gold. And as for Alice and Edie, well, they couldn't believe their good fortune. They were now being paid to do what they'd spent the last 45 years doing for free: bicker. "Welcome back to Britain in the Morning." Lauren, the co-host, smiled brightly into camera 3. "And we're joined on the sofa by our resident agony aunts, sisters Alice and Edie." At the mention of their names, both sisters smiled brightly down the camera lens, while tilting their heads ever so slightly to the left, the way the producer had told them to, just to hammer home the whole shared womb creation story of the two women. "They're here to help you with some of your festive problems," Lauren continued. "And golly, our inboxes have been heaving under the weight of the nation's worries. The first conundrum of the day comes from Janet in Yorkshire, whose 3 children are all in their late teens and early 20s, and have all asked if they can bring their new partners to Christmas. She and her husband were looking forward to a Christmas just the 5 of them, and are now worried about the change in dynamics. What advice would you give to her, Alice?" Sitting beside her sister on the sofa, Alice pushed her bottom lip out far enough to convey a sense of heartfelt empathy. "Oh, this is a tricky one. Perhaps you could have a quiet word with each child in turn and tell them how excited you were about getting together just you, and perhaps offer to host a bigger party with partners for Boxing Day. That way everyone is happy. Maybe it might be better coming from your husband if you don't feel you could say it." Edie shook her head vehemently, her large earrings jangling as she did so. No, I have to interrupt." Upstairs in the studio control room, the producers simultaneously leaned forward in their seats, while in homes across Britain, the eyes of millions of viewers widened in anticipation of the fireworks just about to be let off, which was, after all, why most of them had tuned in. "First off," Edie said, "Janet is a strong, confident woman and is perfectly capable of handling this herself. No need to bring her husband in to save the day. And more importantly," Edie added, staring directly down the camera lens, as if talking directly to Janet herself, "I just want to say how lucky you are, Janet, that you've created a home that your kids want to bring their new partners to at Christmas. So chuck on double the amount of sprouts, get yourself a bigger turkey, and when you think you've bought enough booze, buy some more, and just bloody well enjoy it." "We'd just like to apologise to the viewers for the language there. Sorry about that." The co-host Gareth simpered, while shooting Edie a warning look which she didn't seem to pick up on. To be fair, it was a mistake she made almost weekly. "Now here's an interesting one from Molly in Llandudno," Lauren said, looking at the card in front of her. "She writes that she feels an enormous amount of pressure to create the perfect Christmas for her family. But as a full-time supermarket manager, the minute the closed for Christmas sign goes on the shop door, she feels like sinking into an armchair and not getting up again. Now, I don't think Molly's alone in feeling this way, is she?" "No, she's not," Edie exclaimed, looking pleased with herself that she'd managed to omit a profanity in between the 3 words. "There is a huge and grossly unfair expectation of women up and down the land to make Christmas," she put air quotes around her next word, "perfect. And it's outdated and just plain wrong. Retail workers have had a hell of a month." She shot a look at Gareth to check that hell was an allowable adjective. He blinked back, suggesting it was on the cusp. "And if Molly wants to sink into an armchair, put a straw in a bottle of Bailey's and give herself the downtime she deserves, well, then it's up to the rest of her family to step up, muck in, and share the load. Alice, do you..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?